67 million people type how to get a apartment. I know it should be an apartment. So if your index finger doesn't want to type the letter N, try this little trick. Hey index, you know, you haven't been doing a really good job lately. Do you want to time out? Damn, you messed up your face. Wait, don't do anything crazy. Oh my god, I can't believe what I just did. Friends, welcome to Mastermind Mondays. Every apartment search starts with listing services, and today we're going to teach you how to avoid scams on Craigslist and Zillow. And then aside from that, you're going to get real cold calling scripts that you'll be able to use to reach out to landlords, including scripts for voicemails, calls, text messages, and the entire procedure on how to get yourself pre-approved to sign a lease before you even go to see the apartment. So when you go to see it, you can actually sign a lease if you like it. So we're going to teach you how to do that. And later in the video, we're going to teach you the 5-step process to closing your rental deal. Let's now go ahead and put our index finger and his friends to work to help you get an apartment. Okay, so let's take a look at Craigslist. Yep. All right, and let's take a look at apartments housing. If you don't know how to do a search, it is really simple. Okay, this one looks interesting. Splatter of sorts on the front, and it says here 2 bedrooms for $700. That is highly unlikely. If it's online, the apartment is still available. I will remove the ad once it's gone. Please contact me. Here's the email, and there's no phone number. And ladies and gentlemen, this is highly suspicious. So let's look up the address. Let's take a look. Okay, residence at Water Tower. This is not going to be a cheap area. Let's take a look at this domain and see who is this mysterious Fedozzi. No surprise here, the site doesn't exist and it can't be reached. Let's just see, what do we have here? Well, there's a building for sale here, just under 3 million, very affordable. A 2-bedroom unit in the same building for $4,400. What we learned is that you shouldn't believe everything you see, because there's no way you can get all of this for $700. So this would be your first warning, this little advertisement right here, showing that it's $700 in monthly rent with all utilities included. That would just be impossible. And then also this domain where the site doesn't exist. So we're just gonna flag it. So now we're gonna try Zillow, and on Zillow they have a very easy process with the Apply Now button. And the problem with the Apply button being so easy is that it's too easy. Now I'll show you 3 generic inquiries that we have on Zillow. One is from Carlota, exactly the same one from Crystal, and the same from Sarah. As you know, the one click on apply really doesn't make a great impression. And so one other thing you can do is you can just get in the car and go drive around and look for apartments that way, because there are old school landlords, which means you're not going to have a lot of competition. So in fact, this is a gem. And so when you see an apartment for rent and you see, you know, a sign on the lawn or on the window saying, hey, they have an apartment for rent, and you call, believe me, you'll be one of the only people applying, but it's not necessarily easier to find that landlord. So without further ado, let's go jump in the car. Okay, let's go for a drive. Which car should I take today? Should I take the Benz? Should I take the Jeep? Should I take... Oh, let's take this Beamer. All right, let's go. Let's do it. Oh, what can we learn from this? Okay. So this is one way of finding a for rent sign. Oh, this old lady. She might know some places for rent. Those are nachos. Get it? Nachos. Not yours. Okay, I tried. To look for a for rent sign is not easy.
And we just couldn't find it. So then tomorrow is a new day. And you can try again. Or...
Here you go. This is a perfect example of a for rent sign from a private owner. You can see a tab from the paper to call the landlord. Let's keep going and see what else we can find. Okay, what does that say? That is a for rent sign by building management, which is generally a private landlord, and their contact information is right there. Here's another one right across the street. Same situation. And you can call this number, Raphael V. So these are the typical signs you'll be able to find on the street, which are not necessarily being advertised online. Now, at this stage, you've done your online searching, and now you've also done the scenic drive. Time for you to do outreach, do a prime with the landlord, and just send out a few text messages to just verify that the apartment's available. Then beyond that, you got to make a phone call. Sometimes people have questions like, should I leave a voicemail? The answer is yes, right? You should leave a voicemail and make it a detailed voicemail. Not overly detailed, but it would be something like this. Ring, ring, and then you hear the voicemail and you say, hi, this is Mike, I'm interested in your apartment. I'm qualified for the apartment. I have this and that income. This is my credit. Would love the opportunity to rent it out. I'm very serious and I'll be making a decision this week. If you can call me back, I'd like to schedule some time to meet with you. Please call me back and give them your phone number. Again, this is Mike. Again, the phone number. Have a nice day. Hang up the phone. You can also prime that with text messages because it's a bit faster, right? But you want to customize it. Don't do like you've seen, when people click on apply with Zillow and they just generate this, standard message again. You want to say something in your text message like, hi, this is Mike. I'm interested in your apartment on whatever the address is, or in zip code, because that would be specific enough for them. This is my income. Would love to see it. Very serious. It's a little bit like dating. You want to play a little bit hard to get, but you don't want to be trying too hard to show that you're disinterested, and you don't want to try too hard showing how interested you are, because both of those can put off the other person. This is not dating advice. This is rental advice, although it would apply either way. Now I'm going to go through phone call process so you can anticipate the kind of responses you might get with some landlords. And landlords are busy people, so one thing you're going to learn is they're going to be sometimes short with you, or maybe they're not going to pay full attention to what you're saying to them. Enter every conversation with a purpose, so that landlords really get a sense that you're serious, you know what you're doing, you've maybe done this before, and you're not going to waste their time, you're not going to waste your time either. And you can practice this with your mom, dad. Every mock conversation starts with ring, ring. So ring, ring, and then the other person answers, says hello, and that would be the landlord, right? So ring, ring, hello. Yeah, hi, this is Mike. Calling to find out if you have an apartment for rent. Okay, great. Yeah, I have an apartment for rent. When do you want to see it? Okay, yeah, I do want to see it. Can I just tell you a little bit about myself before I go out to meet with you? Very important tip here is pre-qualify yourself, because you need to also save your time, and you got to show the landlord that if you're serious about saving your time, again, I'm pointing to my pretend wristwatch, if you're interested in saving your time, then the landlord sees you as a serious person. This is where you can roll out the kind of qualifications that you have, okay? And then you say, look, your apartment is $1,000 a month. I make more than $3,000 a month. My credit is a little shaky because I'm new. As a new renter, you're not well established. I don't know how old you are at this point, but if you have some credit challenges, because you either have new credit, you've had some dings in the past from multiple inquiries, or you had trouble paying some bills because you had lost your job or got sick, this is where you want to introduce that to the landlord to get them to understand what your circumstance is. And then once they know what those parameters are, then you'll get their feedback on whether or not they're even interested in renting to you, because maybe they're not. And then they say no thanks, and that's great, right? Because now you don't have to go out there and spend money on fuel or bus tickets or whatever. Parking, driving, tolls, meeting with them, shaking their hand, paying their application fee. You really want to get a lot out of these conversations. So again, start with ring, ring. Hello? Hi, this is Mike. I'm calling to find out if you have an apartment for rent still. Yes, I have an apartment for rent. Great. Can I tell you a little bit about myself? Yeah, sure. Tell me about yourself. Okay. Well, I'm 22 years old. Obviously, I'm not 22 years old. This is a pretend person talking. So, I'm 22 years old, finishing college. I have a job lined up. I have a lot of student bills, so it's driving down my credit. I had some layoff situation earlier when I was in college, and so my credit got damaged as a result of that. My roommates didn't pay their rent, so it's going to show that I've been late on rent a couple of times, but I'm not moving with my roommates anymore, and so I'm going to be a reliable renter for you, and I have a great job to be able to afford that. Am I the kind of person you might be interested in renting to? And so at that point, they might say, I'll pass, or I'm interested. So those are scenarios where you say, great, I'd like to see the apartment. Is there anything I can send you before I meet with you? Send them something about yourself. Maybe they have an online application on their website. Fill it out. Maybe they want a credit report. Send them your Credit Karma report. You can generate a full report straight from Credit Karma. Credit Karma allows you to do that, and it's free. Get your pay stubs ready. Get everything ready for the landlord so that when you meet with them, they know exactly who you are, what your qualifications are, and if you want to see the list of documents that the landlords might ask for, again, 36010x.com, free to register. Just go to 36010x.com and click on Fast Track. And if you do all of this preemptive work, then you're serious, they'll like you even better, right? Because you're taking this rental process seriously and you're not wasting their time. At that point, you're going to go and you're going to meet with them to see the apartment. And when you see the apartment, check it out, figure out if you want to rent it. And if you like the apartment, say, listen, I love the apartment. I don't want to lose it. I'd like to give you a small deposit right now. How much is your security deposit? What is your moving fee? Whatever they say. And you say, great, you know what? I have $300 with me. If you'll let me have this apartment, I'll give you this $300 and I'll bring you the rest of the money by the end of the day or by tomorrow. Because you don't want anyone else after you coming in and claiming it. You want to make sure that you're the person who's going to get this apartment. So you got to put some money down to show your commitment. Okay, so a lot of times, financiers call that a commitment. Commitment is money. So then the landlord knows, wow, this guy is serious. He actually does like the apartment. But you got to remember that most of the times the commitment is non-refundable because they're going to be taking the apartment off market. And what that means is nobody else can have the apartment because you've become first in line. And in that situation, if you don't follow through, a lot of times you will not get that money back. So you got to make sure you're going to follow through because you actually like the apartment. Some landlords may be nice enough to say, okay, look, if you're not interested, fine, here's your $300 back or whatever. I'll rent it to somebody else. But generally, they're going to want to make sure that you're serious and make sure you come back within the time designated to give them the rest of the money so that you can sign the lease and then get the keys. As far as the lease is concerned, you could also potentially sign the lease when you give them a commitment, but they're not going to give you a copy of the lease until you give them the rest of the money. So there are a couple of ways to play that out. So a quick disclaimer, I am not a realtor, leasing agent. This is not legal advice or agency as people say in the real estate world. This is me just sharing my own experiences with working with renters in the past. We have a platform called 36010x that agents subscribe to that renters like to use. It's a DFY process. It is entirely your decision whether or not you want to use the process. I'm just letting you know that it's available, but you can do the entire thing yourself as a DIYer. And as I said, you can't rewire a DIYer. So if you like the content so far, you can go ahead and give us a like, give us a subscribe, hit the bell so you can learn more. The next time we publish content, you'll get notified. That's all I have for today. See you next time. So if you suffer from a lazy index finger syndrome and don't always type your N's, people still get the point, and so does Google. So it's not a matter of literacy. Don't feel bad for yourself because it's not your fault, it's your finger.